Thank you, Mrs. von der Leyen, for your warm words. And let me include also all the people who have worked for this evening to make this a wonderful, emotional moment, as you so well described. Welcome to this 26th Crystal Awards. As we mark the legacy of the World Economic Forum at its 50th annual meeting, we also celebrate the enduring contributions to society of exceptional artists working towards creating a more inclusive and sustainable world. This year, our awardees are bridge builders. They connect us to each other, they help us reflect on the human condition, and they provide visions of the world that can cut through the limitations of short-term or linear thinking. This year's awardees are part of a group of over 40 cultural leaders with us at the annual meeting. They participate across the official program in sessions and in the equivalent of an arts festival created especially for you. You will be able to enjoy more than 20 exhibitions, installations, and performances throughout the meeting. On this occasion of the 26th Annual Crystal Awards, we are delighted to celebrate the leadership of artist Theaster, actor Deepika Padukone, choreographer Jin Xing, and artist Lynette Wallworth. Theaster receives the Crystal Award for his leadership in creating sustainable communities. Theaster grew up on Chicago's West Side, where he sang in his church choir and helped with his father's roofing business. He had an early interest in how to shape the world. After his studies, he received a multidisciplinary master's degree from Iowa State University in urban planning, ceramics, and religious studies. Theaster started his career as a potter. Today, he is a world-renowned installation artist, recognized for his work as a painter, sculptor, performance artist, professor, and urban planner. His socially engaged work that creates spaces for conversations about race, history, and dignity has been shown at the Whitechapel Gallery, Whitney Biennale, Documenta, and many other prestigious events, galleries, and museums around the world. He created the Rebuild Foundation to revitalize disadvantaged neighborhoods in Chicago's South Side through a series of architectural, artistic, and educational initiatives. Klaus and I had the great pleasure of touring some of Theaster's incredibly inspiring projects, like the Stony Island Arts Bank, a dilapidated neoclassical building that Theaster bought from the city for $1 in 2013. He brought it back to life as part library, part community center, part gallery. He is a true cultural and community leader. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Theaster Gates for receiving the 2020 Crystal Award. Please come.
Thank you so much. How y'all doing? It's really good to be here. I've never seen so many blue suits in my life. Happy to be wearing one. It's an honor to be here and to receive this award. Thank you, Hilde. Thank you, Klaus. I feel really inspired, Klaus, by your opening statement. That change can happen because we shape it. And I think my few remarks will try to hone in on that. Thank you so much, because I didn't know what I was going to say. I'm grateful and inspired to join the world's leading visionaries to share ideas on how advanced economic justice can happen and to create amazing, equitable opportunities for others. I'm humbled and delighted to share this accomplishment with my colleagues, Deepika, Jin, and Lynette. It's been sweet getting to know you guys today and spending time with you. Thank you so much. It was really beautiful, Klaus, when you and Hilde came to Chicago, because I didn't really know who you were. I was hanging out, I had a meeting, I knew that you guys had started this thing, I had been here, I knew it was kind of important. But what felt really sweet was that as we went building to building, you had all these questions. Like, how do you finance this? Who works here? What's the structure? And you were asking me business questions related to my creative process. And I found in you a real ally, an ally that would help me think through how to sustain these things, which parts were important. Was I really making the kind of impact that I wanted to make? And because of that visit, I feel like things have gotten a lot better. So thank you so much for coming. The core of my speech was supposed to be about how I didn't really know what I was doing when I started. That there was an abandoned building on my block. I'm not a developer. I was trained as an urban planner, but no one gave me the tools of construction, the tools of finance, the tools of community building. Those were things that I kind of had to bump my head and learn along the way. But as a result of the number of buildings that were abandoned in my neighborhood, I had opportunity after opportunity to practice. And so in some ways, the restoration of these buildings and the redevelopment of my neighborhood felt a lot like ceramics. It was like, I'll make a tea bowl and then another tea bowl. And if I keep making tea bowls, eventually the foot of my tea bowl will be better, the walls of my pot will be thinner, it'll be a more beautiful, more efficient tea bowl. And in this case with the buildings, if I made great buildings, then perhaps we could house artists, create affordable opportunities for living, create permanent moments for works of art to be housed, and ultimately neighborhoods that have been forgotten about for the last 30 or 40 years because of racism and administrative prejudice, that those neighborhoods would be looked at in a new light. I was trying to shape things. And so because of the potter in me, Klaus and Hilde, I just want to thank you for being world shapers. And I commend my fellow colleagues in this day and you for all of the amazing work you do to support artists and creatives. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Deepika Padukone receives the Crystal Award for her leadership in raising mental health awareness. Deepika is world famous in Bollywood as a Bollywood movie star, but when she was young, she was an accomplished sports person. She grew up in Bangalore, India, and followed in her father's footsteps as a professional badminton player. She also played baseball on a national level until the age of 16, while studying and working as a child model. In 2006, she made her Bollywood breakthrough with the film Aishwarya. Today, she is truly a megastar in the world's most thriving film industry, having acted in more than 30 movies. She was listed as one of Time's 100 most influential people of 2018 and is now one of India's most celebrated actors. In 2015, she showed immense courage when she spoke publicly about her depression. And in the process, she has contributed significantly to lifting the stigma around mental health in India. She is the founder of the Live, Love, Laugh Foundation to create greater awareness around mental health issues such as stress, anxiety, and depression. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Deepika Padukone for receiving the 2020 Crystal Award.
Thank you, Mrs. Schwab, Professor Schwab, and the World Economic Forum. It is truly an honor and privilege to receive this award. In the time that it has taken me to accept this award, the world has lost one more person to suicide. That person may have been a father, a mother, a son or daughter, a brother or sister, a friend, a family member, or a colleague. Every 40 seconds, one person dies by suicide somewhere in the world. $1 trillion. That is the estimated impact caused by anxiety and depression on the global economy. 15th February 2014, I vividly remember waking up with a hollow feeling in my stomach. I felt empty and directionless. I'd become irritable, and for someone who loves to multitask, making decisions suddenly felt like a burden. I would cry endlessly. Waking up every morning had become a struggle. I was exhausted, and I often thought of giving up. My mother, who recognized that something was amiss, insisted I seek professional help. Subsequently, I was diagnosed with anxiety and clinical depression. What is anxiety? It is a state of worry over a future unwanted event or a fear of an actual situation. Depression is a common yet serious medical illness that affects how we feel, the way we think, and how we act. It is important to understand that anxiety and depression are like any other illness and are treatable. However, in my experience, acceptance is the first step to recovery. Through my journey to recovery, as I began to understand the stigma and lack of awareness associated with mental illness, I felt a deep need to save at least one life. And it was this very need that motivated me to go public with my illness and set up the Live, Love, Laugh Foundation. Live, love, and laugh exemplify my personal philosophy to life. The Live, Love, Laugh Foundation aims to provide hope to every person experiencing stress, anxiety, and depression, and has undertaken work in the following areas: awareness programs in schools covering over 150,000 adolescents and 16,000 teachers across 11 cities in India, funding free psychiatric treatment in low-income communities, collaborative partnerships to run continuing medical education programs in common mental disorders for general practitioners, nationwide public awareness campaigns to destigmatize mental illness, an annual lecture series featuring some of the world's foremost thinkers and achievers, and research. As key stakeholders in shaping the global mental health narrative, prioritizing mental health in the workplace and various other communities, integrating mental health curriculum in educational institutions, providing accessibility to affordable mental health care, and enhancing funding for mental health are some of the focus areas that we believe are the need of the hour. As most of us know, stakeholders for a cohesive and sustainable world is the theme for this year's annual meeting. But in order for us to truly achieve a cohesive and sustainable world, now more than ever before, we need to prioritize the needs of every individual, including those affected by mental illness. Mental illness has presented us all with a very tough challenge. But in my love-hate relationship with the illness has taught me so much. To be patient for one, that you are not alone, but most importantly, that there is hope. For in the words of Martin Luther King, everything that is done in this world is done by hope. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Jinjing has been many things. She receives the Crystal Award for her leadership in shaping inclusive norms, cultural norms. Jinjing has been many things in her life: dance prodigy, prima ballerina, and choreographer, decorated colonel in the People's Liberation Army, actress, TV host, wife, and mother of 3. As a young boy, Jinjing had a precocious talent for dance. At age 9, she was admitted to a prestigious troop within the Chinese People's Army. Her rise through the ranks accelerated when she won her first national dance championship at age 17, becoming the #1 male dancer in the country. She studied dance in New York, and upon returning to China, Jinjing decided to undergo gender reassignment surgery, becoming the first person in China to publicly do so. Today, Jinjing is one of China's most recognized personalities. She is the founder of the award-winning Jinjing Dance Theater. She performs a weekly talk show in theaters across China, and she has hosted variety TV shows such as Venus Hits Mars, Chinese Dating. In the Jinjing Show, a widely successful program with an estimated viewership of 100 million people every week, she sparks a national dialogue on popular culture and values. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Jinjing for receiving the 2020 Crystal Award.
Well, it's such a serious talk. I need to prepare the paper. But out of my profession, I just talk spontaneously. Thank you, ma'am. Well, thank you. I would like to thank you, the World Economic Forum, for giving me this Crystal Award. And I would like to take a moment to share my feelings with you, everybody here. We are all living very dynamic and the fast-paced era in time. Seems people so fascinated and excited about the everyday innovation of our daily lives. But somehow, we're also easy to forget. In a society, as a human being, how to respect, value individual thinking, individual behaving, individuality. When I was a young boy, before reaching the age of 19, my future had been decided by others, by my parents, by my family, by my government, by society. They said, young man, don't need thinking too much, just follow. Everyone told me to follow the path assigned to me. At that age, I started to realize I'd like to take my life in my own hands, which puts me on a sometimes very difficult, challenging, but always interesting and fascinating life journey. This made me who I am and lead me to stand here to receiving these awards. I deeply believe in modern society today, the controversial figure, much needed. They have the power, inner power, strength, and no hesitation to challenging norms and pushing the boundaries. I very often tell my students, my dancers, even my children, open your heart truly to yourself, respect others, and don't try to be the best one. Be the unique one. Be different from others. I'm grateful, Mrs. Schwab, and the World Economic Forum to acknowledge through this award what I'm standing for, be different. Thank you.
Lynette Wallworth receives the Crystal Award for her leadership in creating inclusive narratives. Lynette was born outside Sydney, Australia. From a very young age, she showed exceptional talent in art. In college, she studied painting, then photography, but what she really wanted to do was immerse the viewer inside the work. Today, as one of the world's leading multimedia artists, Lynette has a truly unique ability to touch our hearts through the way in which she immerses us in the reality of others, especially that of communities often forgotten. She helps us to connect at once with the deepest reaches of the human condition and with our interdependence on this fragile place. Her celebrated works use film and virtual and augmented reality. Beginning in 2015, Lynette embarked on a journey of co-creation and collaboration with the World Economic Forum. Many of her works were presented here and at our events across the world. The Emmy Award-winning virtual reality film Collisions was commissioned and executive produced by the Forum and premiered here in Davos in 2016. The work brings us into the world of an indigenous community in the Western Australian desert and its encounter with nuclear testing. Subsequently, Lynette was named one of the 100 leading global thinkers by Foreign Policy magazine for immersing audiences in the destructive power of nuclear weapons. Her latest project with the Forum is as artistic director of the New Narratives Lab, a new year-long mentorship program to support artists from underrepresented communities to become leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in congratulating Lynette Wallworth for receiving the 2020 Crystal Award.
Thank you. To write this acceptance speech, I woke at 4:30 a.m. before first light, when the air was cleaner and cooler, and I couldn't see the wrong-coloured sky, the strange red-grey or smoke-filled white, when it was easier to breathe in my heartbroken country. I woke thinking about leadership, knowing I would be standing in front of you here, accepting this beautiful award. I've been coming here for over half a decade now. At first in amazement that my works of art were embraced and held and listened to. And some of them indeed have been powerfully embraced by you. I brought virtual realities and held them up for contemplation. And tonight I bring another reality, but it is not an artwork. I am standing here a traveller from a new reality, a burning Australia, where amidst the endless falling ash, the thing that is clearest to see is that what was feared and what was warned is no longer in our future a topic for debate. It is here. We have seen the unfolding wings of climate change. And to face what this new reality brings, we need leaders to match this moment. To lead is to guide, to have a vision for the way ahead. That is impossible if you deny where we are heading. We need new leaders because in so many places we elected faithful followers of the past, persisting in marriages to industries in their death throes, holding up the dreams of dinosaurs whose day is done. This is a time for new leaders, for youth leaders, for women leaders and Indigenous leaders, and for those who can work with them, because this world has already changed. It is unutterably altered, and that momentous shift will continue. To what degree, literally, we don't yet know. But what we do know is that those who led us here aligned themselves with corporations over community, with privilege and power over shared humanity, and with ledgers over values. There is an extinction going on. It is the death of a worn-out way that no longer serves. As powerful as their last rampant thrashing will appear, the dinosaur industries will die. They are dying now. They will go because we are human, and at our core, we want to live. From my homeland, on the front line of this change, what is clear is that the earth is driving this now. It is that simple. We will want to survive this mechanism we have set in motion. We will want to survive it along with the creatures we love, whose uncomprehending pain is seared now into the heart of my homeland. So despite my Prime Minister's appreciation of coal, it is a fossil he is holding, and we have a future to create. And for that, we need not just leaders, but thinkers and visionaries. We need radical imagination. We need technologists and dreamers who can illuminate the way ahead. Some of those who are ready for this moment have already shifted into power and are in this room. Some are close by. And others are allies who have always been here, just to the side, seldom at the table. So in these next days, let us make space for them, because we are going to need them to help shape this new reality. I want to leave you with the last lines from Collisions, which the Forum commissioned and I presented to you here in 2016. There is what we do not know, and then there is what we come to know. And it's what we do next that makes the difference. Thank you.